Oh my gosh, do I love angel food cake. I love eating it. I love making it. Heck, I even like looking at it. It's incredibly easy to make, only 6 ingredients. You can do this, and I know you're going to love this recipe. This absolutely brings me back to my childhood. My grandma always had angel food cake lying around the house. It was like her go to dessert. Whenever I would expect something fancy, nope, it was always angel food cake and was always delicious. She used to serve it up with a little bit of whipped cream, sometimes some fresh berries. That's exactly what I'm going to do in this recipe. But my promise to you is you will love this. We do need to start off though with a little bit of prep. Always goes that way. Sound good to you? Let's bake. We are going to start by preheating our oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit or 176 degrees Celsius. Now I've got some sugar. I'm going to add it to a food processor. Go ahead and put the top on. We're going to pulse it on high speed for maybe 35 to 40 times. What this does is helps to incorporate air into the sugar and also helps to break down the sugar particles so that they're smaller. Now, if you want to completely avoid this step, you can, or you can absolutely buy caster sugar. That would be absolutely preferred in this recipe, but sometimes it can be hard to find. Once you are done, we are just going to run it through a sifter into a bowl. Full disclosure, this thing fell off the shelf earlier in the day and it became really hard to sort of turn the crank. So I'm having a hard time here. Hopefully you've got one that's a little bit better. If you don't have a sifter, it's absolutely fine if you just use a strainer. Now, once you've done it, we're actually going to run it through one more time, except we only want to do about half of it into this specific bowl. So go ahead and turn the crank as best you can. Hopefully yours isn't busted up like mine is. After you get half of it, set it to the side in the bowl. Hopefully the other half is still in the sifter. Break out a whole new bowl. And now I've got 1 cup of cake flour or pastry flour we're going to add in there. Next, I've got a little bit of salt we're going to sprinkle in there. And then again, just go ahead and crank on the sifter to get all of those ingredients mixed together. You only need to do this a total of 1 time. Once all of the ingredients are in that bowl, just simply set it to the side. And then I've got some room temp eggs. I've got a dozen of them. It takes about 30 minutes or so for them to warm up after pulling them out of the refrigerator. Now what we need to do is separate the yolk from the white. So there are a couple ways that you can do this, and I know I've explained it before, but I'll do it again. Crack it and then bobble the yolk back and forth in between both halves of the shell until the whites completely drip down into the bowl. Then just simply set the yolk to the side. Now to get a little bit closer into this, I'll give you another example again. Open it up after you've cracked it and be careful so no shells fall in there, and definitely do not let any of the yolk fall in the whites or else it won't work to form the meringue that we need. If you want, you can also have gloves or very clean hands and just simply crack the egg right into your hand and open up your fingers a little bit so that the whites can run through your fingers. Just like this. I actually prefer it this way. I can go a little bit faster instead of bobbling it in between both shells. This looks absolutely perfect. See how that's there? Again, don't let the yolk go in there. Just set it to the side in a bowl. If you want to use the yolks, absolutely use them. They go great as a fat into things like mashed potatoes, or even add to extra eggs if you'd like. Now I'm going to wipe out my stand mixer bowl. This is just to make sure it's very clean, just with a little damp paper towel. Looks perfect. Going to assemble it to my stand mixer with the whisk attachment. If you do not have a stand mixer, an electric hand beater will work perfectly. Add your egg whites right to the stand mixer. Be sure that it's locked down. It's happened before where it's not, and the top of this thing goes nuts. We're just going to turn it on low speed, and what we want to do is get it nice and frothy. Like foam will start to form a little bit at the top. This maybe takes 3 to 4 minutes on low speed, and then at this point we're going to add in some cream of tartar and a little bit of vanilla, of course, for some flavor. Now the cream of tartar will help stabilize the egg whites so that they won't break. Then immediately turn the speed up to medium, and what we're going to do is whisk this for about 4 to 5 minutes. We want to get it until it's about medium peaks. Now, if you have no clue what this looks like, I'm going to do my best to give you an example. So stop it, lift it up. You can see how they're still a bit soft, but not so much that they're completely falling over, but they are soft. This is perfect. We're at a good consistency here, so lock it in, and then we're going to crank the speed onto high. Now remember that bowl that just has sugar in it, not the one with flour and salt, just sugar. We are going to add a tablespoon at a time. If you've just got a nice spoon that you eat cereal with, that would be fine in this. So go ahead and sprinkle it in one at a time until it is completely mixed in. This is important. If you just dump the sugar in there, it's not going to hold together and it is going to break and fall. Once it is in there and combined, takes about 4 or 5 minutes or so to whip. Let's go ahead and have a look, because what we want to do is make sure that it's formed stiff peaks. Now the best way that I know how to do this is sort of just take a little spoon to show you. You can see how the peaks sort of stand. This is what you're looking for. It'll be nice and thick. I mean, really, you can't miss this part of the procedure. It will be very thick, and this is perfect. So set it to the side. You can still see that peak sort of sitting up in the top in the middle there. We know we're in good shape. Now take the flour, sugar, salt mixture that we sifted together and add in about a 1/3 cup at a time right to the top to sprinkle it all over. Then using a rubber spatula, take the time to completely mix this in. Now be gentle. We're not trying to whisk this thing with our rubber spatula. Take the time to fold it in. Again, when you're doing it, sprinkle it all over on top. This is just a good way to make sure it gets completely incorporated into our meringue. So once it is completely folded in, we are just going to set it to the side. This does look absolutely perfect, because I'm going to pull out my Bundt pan. This is a 2-piece pan that's 4 inches deep by about 9.5 inches wide. This is a pretty standard size, and we need those 2 parts to the Bundt pan so we can separate it at the end. Just going to place it on a cookie sheet tray lined with parchment paper. You don't need the parchment paper, but you know me, it's just how I am. Go ahead and grab the batter from the angel food cake and then just pour it in all around into the Bundt pan. Once it is in there, and this part's pretty important, be sure to take that rubber spatula and do the best job you can to sort of flatten out the top. This presses the batter all into the inside and the corners of the Bundt pan. Again, super, super important. Now to reassure though that this thing isn't going to have tons of air pockets in there, just grab a butter knife and sort of run it around in the inside and the outside of the pan. If you want to do little figure 8 gestures in there, totally fine. This helps again to remove any air bubbles. Now take your pan going over to the oven on 350 degrees Fahrenheit or 176 degrees Celsius, because we preheated it. Put it on the bottom rack of the oven, and it's going to take in between 40 and 45 minutes for it to cook. Now in the meantime, I know I've made this a million times, but hey, I'll show you again real quick. We're going to make some homemade whipped cream. So add some cold, heavy whipping cream to that stand mixer, or if you don't have this, a clean bowl with a hand blender. We're going to add in some sugar, next a little bit of vanilla, and then whisk this at first on like medium speed. And the reason I do this is so that the heavy cream doesn't fly out the outsides of this bowl, and it will if you put it on high speed. So after it gets creamy and a little bit thicker, we're just going to crank the heat up to high. Once it forms stiff peaks, this takes a total of maybe 3 minutes. It comes together very, very quickly. If you continue to beat this, you're going to have butter, so make sure you don't go too far. Now just simply set it to the side, and then when it's time, let's pull out our angel food cake. It looks fantastic. When you know it's done, it'll be brown, and if you press on it, it will immediately spring back up. Now what we do is invert this pan, so flip it over. Remember to grab your towels. This pan is still hot, and it takes about an hour for it to cool. You could absolutely go longer, but the baseline is 1 hour. After that time, we're just going to flip it back over. Again, looks fantastic. And then grab a long knife. I have a long slicing knife that is perfect for this. And then run it around the outside of the pan, outside of the cake that is in the pan, to completely release it from the pan. This is perfect. It looks and smells absolutely amazing. And you know the hook. It's all about these fundamental basic cooking techniques. Same thing applied to baking, knowing your exact measurements, knowing when it's done, how to cool it. I can tell you that this homemade from scratch is way better than anything you're going to get at the store. But now, let's plate up in slow-mo. I'm going to hit the top with some powdered sugar. This is pretty classic when serving up an angel food cake, and it's fantastic just eaten like this. Let me tell you, my friends. And when it's time to slice it up, go ahead and get you a big old slice, and I'm going to slap some of that whipped cream on top. Oh my gosh, this is amazing. And then strawberry season, put as many as you can on there, or other fresh berries, and my oh my, check out this beauty. It's light, it's fluffy, it's delicious to eat all year round, especially spring and summer, and of course, easy to make. You need to do this. That's all that needs to be said. Subscribe to this channel. Definitely like and share this video. Check out this video right here. We made it for you all. We'll see you on there.